So it's 2007, and my late husband and I have a 2-year-old. We are spending money like crazy, buying cars, toys, not saving at all. He was into trucking and had a new semi-truck, and its engine blew. This was his source of income, and his source of income was now sitting at the shop. And we had no money to fix the truck, and bills and debt were piling up to the point where we had to file bankruptcy. This was, not an easy decision, but this is where we were at. So now 17 years later, I have built my credit up and built my net worth up. I've got, well over $1 million in net worth, and my life is completely different. So what has changed? One of the biggest lessons I've learned from all of this is how to handle my personal finances. And recognizing that bad money habits, are awful, and breaking free from them. So in this video, we will go over 7 of the most common money habits that hold you back. And I'll also go over tips on how to change your money habits. Hey guys, I'm Brandy Lydon, host and founder of Mom You're Not Alone. I'm also a local realtor and investor here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So let's dive into these 7 tips. So number 1 is going to be being comfortable with bad debt. So credit card companies want you to be bad with your finances because that's how they make money. The average credit card interest rate is around 27% according to Forbes, which cancels all kinds of benefits and rewards that these companies have and are providing if you're not able to pay them off in time. Number 2 is going to be not having a stockpile. So having a buffer of 3 to 6 months of living expenses will give you a lot more peace of mind and freedom to focus on other important things. If you don't have this, you can start setting aside 10% of your earnings each month until you reach that point of the 3 to 6 month living expenses. And then once you have this stockpile, you can then start using that same 10% to invest in real estate or other investments that you're interested in. If you get to the point where you have that 3 to 6 month living expenses stashed, things come up. If you own a home, you've got repairs, you've got other things that can come up, or medical bills, anything can happen. And if you have that, then you will not be stressing over anything that comes along. Number 3 is going to be not knowing income and expenses. So until you know where your starting point is, how do you know where you want to be and how you're going to get there? So there's something called lifestyle inflation, where your spending will rise as your income rises. And if you don't keep close track of your finances, like what your expenses are versus your income, this can become a cycle. So you make more money, you buy a nicer car. You make more money, you get a bigger house. And it just keeps going on like this. So that's a vicious cycle. You want to just keep yourself in check, and if you can live on much less than you make, you'll be able to invest more. So according to a study from Mint, 65% of Americans said they don't know how much they spent last month, which is crazy. So also nearly a third of Americans say they wish they'd spent less in the last 30 days. And so that's probably very true. If you ask yourself, what you spent in the last 30 days, would you want to have spent less? The answer is probably yes. Money is the main source of stress for 44% of all the people. It's possible many people avoid examining the full picture of their spending habits for fear of what they are going to find out. But unfortunately, this just ends up leading to even more stress in the long term. So how can you avoid this? Keeping a budget is exactly how you're going to avoid this. So this will help you know exactly where your money is going and if you're getting closer to your goals. So let's talk about a budget here. So the first thing you want to do is list out all your expenses for the month that you actually spend, and that's going to be like your fixed expenses that happen every single month, and then go back through and check out how much you spent on food, how much you spent on kid activities or whatever it is that kind of vary each month. Get that list of expenses, and then what is your income every month, and then that way you know where you're at. Then you can set some goals as to, all right, if I have this much extra, I want to save this much, I want to invest this much, or I'm spending way too much, I don't even have any extra at the end of the month, so what can I do to eliminate some expenses? So budget is huge, and just being aware of where your money is going. Number 4 is going to be expensive hobbies. So everywhere we turn, there's people and companies telling us how much we need to spend our money on this thing or that experience, instead of keeping it and saving it and investing it. And there's nothing wrong with having hobbies, but spending for these activities should also line up with your long-term goals. If you think about, you may be, a hobby may be hiking or traveling or fitness or anything that's costing you monthly money, or if it's traveling, it's every trip that you go on. So you just really want to make sure that you are, whatever you're spending on, and this goes for your kids too. So if you're saying yes to all kid activities and you're spending, $500, $600, even more, a month on these activities, and it's not lining up with your goals, then this is a problem. All right, so number 5 is going to be focusing on saving. This is a huge one. So while keeping your emergency fund in a savings account is a smart move, putting all your money in savings over the long term is a bad idea for long-term investment. And one of the big reasons for that is the return on your funds is going to be capped at a really low level. So let's think about a savings account, you're getting hardly anything. You've got money market accounts, you have CDs, you have all these other opportunities that if you have money that's going to sit there, they can at least be making, 5% or something like that. And then, for instance, if you wanted to end up with a $1 million nest egg and you earn just 2.5% on your money, you would need to save a shocking $1,900 per month if you started 30 years before your retirement. That's not something that's going to make you a great return on your money. Exactly. So be smart with that. Talk to a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving you that advice, but talk to one so that you can make sure your money is making you money instead of just sitting in an account. So number 6 is going to be paying too much taxes. So for many people, taxes are going to be the single biggest expense of their life. Obviously, everyone has to pay taxes, but a lot of people just pay it without considering how they may be able to reduce their tax liability and get that bill down. Some people have more to invest in other areas, and taxes can be a bit complicated. So for many, it would be worth consulting a professional tax accountant, tax advisor, making sure that you have a plan to reduce the tax bill as much as possible. All right, and number 7 is going to be waiting too long to invest. So just like we always say, when's the best time to buy a house? Today. When's the best time to invest? Today. Start now. So it can sometimes feel impossible to find spare cash to invest. So you may be tempted, I'll just put it off later, or I don't have enough money to invest. But unfortunately, it can have severe consequences by waiting. So let's talk about this. If, for example, say you started investing at age 30 and you put aside $250 a month, assuming a 10% average annual return. By the time you get to 65, you'll have around $813,000. But if you started at 40 and put aside the same amount and you earn the same 10%, you would only end up with $295,000. So from age 30 to 40, you would have invested a total of $30,000, but your account balance by the time you hit retirement would have ended up with $518 less in it because you lost that whole decade of compounding interest and all of that. So think about it. If you are 30 years old versus 40 years old, can you afford that however much a month? Probably. You can probably find somewhere in those expense categories to not have that Starbucks or not have that, nice dinner that week or whatever it is. And, $518,000 that you potentially, have lost, it is huge. So waiting too long to invest, the time is now for sure. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you got value from this episode, make sure to like and subscribe today at Brandy Lydon. Have a great day.